Chapter 6, The Freedom Train. Harriet kept going back and bringing more people north to freedom. She went back to Maryland 20 times. Every winter and summer, she worked to make money. Every spring and fall, she went down into the South again. It was dangerous work. There were white men who made their living by chasing after runaway slaves. The slave owners offered thousands of dollars in rewards to anyone who could catch Harriet. If they did catch her, they would kill her. Harriet had to carry a gun and wear disguises so that the slave chasers would not know her. Sometimes she dressed like a man. Sometimes she dressed like an old woman. She had to hide the scar on her forehead, too. If the slave chasers saw the scar, they would know who she was. And there was always the danger that she would suddenly fall asleep in the middle of the road. Then she might get caught when she was sleeping. Harriet was very smart about keeping away from the slave chasers. When she took slaves away from their masters, she would always start on the weekend. That way, the master would not notice that they were gone for a few days. There was no newspaper on Sunday, so most people would not know for a day or two that the slaves had run away. Often, the slave owners put up posters of the runaway slaves. Then the slave chasers would know what they looked like. Harriet would pay someone to go around and pull the posters down. Harriet also made up ways to give secret signals to the slaves that she was taking north. She would make sounds like birds that told her people when they needed to stay hidden in the woods and when it was okay to come out. She would put her signals into songs. A happy song might mean that it was okay for them to keep on walking. A sad song might mean that everyone had to hide for a while. Harriet wasn't always gentle with the people that she was saving. Sometimes a slave would decide that he was too tired or scared or homesick. The slave would want to go back to his owner. Then Harriet would take out her gun and say, "You can live free in the North, or you can die here." When she said that, they always kept moving. In 1850, the U.S. government passed a new law to make it even harder for slaves to become free. The new law said that if a slave escaped to the North, people in the North had to try to catch the slave and send him back down to the South again. Many people in the North hated the law. They broke the law by hiding slaves who had escaped to the North. They stopped the police from sending slaves back down south. But some slaves did get caught and did get sent back. The northern states were not safe for the slaves anymore. The only free land was Canada, which was even farther north. In Canada, no one could be a slave. Now, when Harriet Tubman brought slaves up from the South, she could not stop in Philadelphia. She had to take the slaves all the way to Canada. It was hundreds of miles, but she did it anyway. Harriet Tubman was never caught. In 10 years, she brought more than 300 people out of slavery. She brought 9 of her sisters and brothers.